Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the SHU Program. This is your boy EJ and Jay. We're here for episode 2 of the EJ and Jay channel. It's kind of an emergency podcast, emergency get together. We had some big news that went down yesterday that I want to talk about today. Disney Plus, all new information on Star Wars, all new information on the MCU, and just other random Disney titles that they're throwing out as far as animated shows and live action shows and straight to Disney Plus films. So we got a lot to get into today. First one being for us, I know Marvel is a big thing here at the SHU Program. Me and Jay especially are really into comic books, really into Marvel and DC. And so we kind of want to go over Marvel's upcoming list because they kind of revealed their plans or most of their plans for Phase 4, starting with everything that's going to be happening in 2021. So, Jay, I'm going to go down this list, man, and we kind of just going to talk about each one and see how we feel about it, all right?
Yep.
All right, man. So this is every movie and show that is upcoming in the MCU. Whether it's Disney Plus or in theaters. So I think we all know about WandaVision.
Right.
It was supposed to be released December and ended up getting pushed back because of Corona and everything going on right now around the world. But they finally gave us a release date, and that release date is January 15th, 2021. How hyped and excited are you about this show?
I'm excited for it because, there's rumor that WandaVision is going to introduce, or is not necessarily introduced, but segue a way for the mutants to come into the MCU. So if the audience doesn't know, we all know in the comic books that Scarlet Witch is actually the daughter of Magneto. Now, of course, the movie franchises were separated and owned by different movie studios. So at the time, the MCU couldn't use Magneto, of course, because Fox had it. But now MCU owns those characters, so they can do some stuff and twist it in and use Scarlet Witch as that kind of conduit to introduce the X-Men. So that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to see how Vision comes back and how he comes back into the story, because the last time we see him, Thanos is ripping one of the stones out of his head and he's pretty much dead. And we do see Shuri trying to do something, and there's like an Easter egg that kind of possibly we can that he can be brought back, but we don't have a clear answer, and we're going to get our clear answer with WandaVision. So I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, me too. I think WandaVision is going to tie into, like you said, not only X-Men, but I think it's going to have big ramifications going forward for the MCU as a whole. We all know that Scarlet Witch, especially in the comic books, is a very powerful character. And there's one particular storyline that I think that they're going to draw from, and that is House of M.
Right.
House of M was one of the biggest Marvel events that they've probably ever had, because she pretty much reset everything that happened in the Marvel universe with mutants and different characters, bringing certain characters back from the dead, killing off other characters, rewriting the history of mutants. So that'll be interesting. And I also think that it's definitely going to tie into Captain Marvel 2, because my girl Tiana Paris, yes, she is playing Monica Rambeau. So her character was, I believe she was like 9 or 10 in the first Captain Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. So now, bringing in Tiana Paris to play the adult version of Monica Rambeau, I think it'll tie into that as well. So that'll give us some answers to her character and see, exactly how she's going to be used in that. And like you said, the whole Vision thing and him getting the stone ripped out of his head, it's going to be interesting to see how they, tell us what went on and what happened and how he's actually back to life, or did Scarlet Witch just use her powers just to bring him back to life? So
right,
it's gonna be interesting.
I'm curious too, though. I'm excited for Monica Rambeau too, because as we all know, she becomes like the second Captain Marvel. and she was also announced to be in the sequel to Captain Marvel. But also in the sequel, we hear that there's news that's brought to us with this announcement that we're going to see Miss Marvel make her appearance, and we got to see her appearance in besides the comic book medium. We got to see her in the failed Avengers game.
Definitely failed.
Yeah, we got to see her in the failed Avengers game, but she's going to be in Captain Marvel too. So I'm curious on how that's going to work with 3 Captain Marvel type heroes. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. So, that's gonna be pretty good. I mean, if they're putting the budget into these, which I think they are, because they're doing that with Star Wars, so, and The Mandalorian. So, if they're putting the same budget into that, it should be a hit. It's we're basically getting Marvel can produce all these shows into actual feature films. So, I think they're doing the best thing is giving us everything on Disney Plus right alongside the movies. So, it's always giving us something to look forward to.
Right.
Yeah. All right. And the next one, we got the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, I know I'm gonna let you go first on this because this is your boy. So that will be releasing right now. They say January 15, 2021, or I actually heard that it was in March. So I think March 15, 2021. Let me know how you feel about that, because the Soldier, that's your dude.
Actually, what I'm saying is it's going to be January 15th as well, but this could be wrong. I'm not sure. This could be wrong because I do remember seeing March, but I'm looking on IGN and they're saying January 15th.
Yep.
Man, I'm really excited for this, man. I'm really excited because I'm a big Captain America fan, and one of the things I didn't like was that they didn't utilize the Red Skull, which is the Red Skull character is Captain America's arch enemy. But Captain America has his own rogues gallery too. Besides the Winter Soldier and Red Skull, he has this villain that's his name is Baron Zemo. And Baron Zemo is known, he has like this purple mask and whatever, and he's always trying to stop Captain America and Avengers and stuff like that. And they did a version of Baron Zemo in Civil War. He was the guy that sabotaged the Avengers breaking up and stuff like that, and was one of the reasons Bucky was the Winter Soldier. And they just did like this whole flip of his character, and it just didn't sell for me, so that was kind of disappointing. So I was like, man, are we ever going to see like a proper, Baron Zemo? And I think they even like changed the spelling of his name, because I guess they didn't want to, like, yeah, this is going to be a version. You know how like filmmakers like to do when they don't want to adapt the stuff correctly. This is going to be a version of the character, but it's not the character. I was like, oh, come on, y'all selling out now. Y'all selling out. But apparently, he's coming back in a series, and they're actually going to do him justice, and he's going to don like the traditional costume, from what I'm hearing too. So,
that's gonna be
exactly. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how that comes off, and we get this. I'm interested in the story on how the mantle is going to be claimed by either Bucky or Sam Wilson, because we all know in the comics that the mantle actually went to Bucky when Captain America supposedly died. At the time, everyone thought he died, but went to Bucky, and he became Captain America for a little bit, and then later on he went back to being a Winter Soldier. And then later on, and this is like recent years, actually, I want to say within the last 5 years, the mantle went down to Sam Wilson, and he became Captain America and leader of a sect of the Avengers. So I'm curious. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how everything unfolds and who gets the mantle. And it's kind of gonna be. It's kind of sad too, because it seems like we're never gonna see Chris Evans return to the role. So, but it's bittersweet. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely bittersweet, because we all know Chris Evans played the hell out of America. I am interested to see if they do go the route, which I've heard of Sam Wilson taking on the mantle. It'll be cool just, seeing a brother play Captain America, first of all, because after reading it, reading the comics was great, seeing him do that in the comics, but actually seeing Anthony Mackie play him on screen, that's just great for everybody. It's good for people like us, kids like us, growing up, getting a chance to see that on screen. Actually being Captain America, which is supposed to be like the American hero. So
Right.
it's gonna be cool, man. I really liked the back and forth and the banter between him and Winter Soldier in all the crossover movies or whatever. They always had like a little banter going on, which I really enjoyed. So it's gonna be cool for them for us to see their relationship grow on screen and see how how well they become friends, or all the difficulties that they have trying to take on the mantle, as you said, and do everything without Cap being there. So
Right.
I think it'll be cool, man. It'll, like I said, I like that these are going to tie into the movies and that we're getting this little history to help us look forward to other MCU actual movie franchises. So it'll be cool.
Right.
The next actual feature film, instead of straight to Disney Plus, is going to be Black Widow, and that's May 7th, 2021. Now, me personally, I was actually kind of looking forward to it this year before it came out, and it got shut down. Like, everything got shut down the month that Black Widow was supposed to come out.
Right.
And, to see how it performs in theaters if everything open like it's supposed to be in May. But I honestly think it can be a good film. I mean, Black Widow didn't really get the attention I think it deserved until it was too late. DC beat Marvel to the punch as far as getting their first female superhero movie out, which I definitely think Black Widow probably should have been before Wonder Woman. But it's good to see they're giving her just due. Now, spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen Avengers by now. I mean, I really shouldn't say that, but we're gonna go ahead and say spoiler alert. We all know she passed away in the last Avengers movie in Endgame. So they said that it's going to be a prequel, but I'm interested to see if something happens to where she's not really dead or whatever, because I actually saw on one of the Marvel Day trailers that they showed yesterday, I don't know if it was in Loki or if it was in one of the other shows, they showed a brief glimpse of her like on the ground, that area where she was actually standing up, though, where she fell when she was on the planet. So I'm interested to see where they take the character, or they give us like kind of the passing of the torch, you would say, to what's the girl's name? Florence Pugh, who's playing her sister in the movie. So I'm interested if they're just going to pass the torch, or if it turns around to where Black Widow is actually still alive. Maybe not in the timeline, but maybe in another timeline. So we'll see, man. But I'm interested in Black Widow because it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. And Taskmaster is a great villain as well. So getting a chance to see him on the big screen and do everybody's moves and stuff like that, it should be cool.
Yeah, I think when Endgame happened, Endgame takes place 5 years after they kill the current timeline Thanos, and so there's a lot of time and a lot of story in between there, right? So I think that's very cool that even though we know Black Widow dies eventually, we get to see what she was up to in that time period, because we know Tony Stark, he is a kid and everything, and we get to see what Black Widow was up to. And like you said, she never really Scarlett Johansson never really got her due justice with a leading film until now, and she should have got this a long time ago, to be honest. And a lot of people, a lot of film a lot of comic book fans or movie fans didn't really respect her character nor Hawkeye's character, and they were just kind of the two outcasts. So I hope, that's why I'm glad that Hawkeye is getting his TV show, even though it looks like it's kind of tailored toward his daughter. But I'm glad she's getting her just due, and we get to see her, like you said, with a great villain in Taskmaster. So he's not a pushover, and they gave her somebody substantial. So I'm excited to see that, and I just hope that stuff comes out. I just hope that we get to see it, and and hopefully she does come back. I know Scarlett Johansson has I know she's a mother now, and she has young babies, or a young baby. So maybe she needed a break, or I don't know. So if she's not coming back after this, you know, Florence Pugh definitely has, because Florence Pugh she's a rising star. If she's not a star already, she's getting up there as one of the top actresses in Hollywood.
Should be. Yeah. Now I do remember, and I think I remember this correctly, but I think they said that this movie takes place between Captain America: The Winter Soldier and what was the other one? Captain America: Winter Soldier and Captain America: Civil War. So I think it takes place in between those two movies, from what I think I remember them talking about last year. So,
it says it's between Civil War and Infinity War. I thought it took place. That's
still a good little time.
Yeah, it's still a little time, but I thought it took place in between Endgame and Infinity War, because her hair is like white, right? Like her hair is like white and red. She kind of mixed it up a little bit, and I remember her hair being like that in Endgame, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Regardless, like we said, it should be straight.
Right.
It'll fill in some blanks and give us some answers to some things that was going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about. So, should be cool, man. Should be cool.
Yeah.
Now I can say this trailer I was actually pumped for, because I didn't think it was gonna be as good as it was. That's like the little trailer that they showed. But Loki, the trailer they showed for that, looked pretty legit. Basically, it picks up where he picks up the Tesseract after Tony drops it in Endgame, and he, basically just zooms out of there real quick before anybody can see him. And it picks up where he's on another planet after that, and somebody like arrests him or places him under arrest or something, and they take him to this place. I think they called it the TVA. Now I don't know what TVA is necessarily, but I'm assuming it's some kind of time force group that is basically watching the timelines. I think that's what it has to be, because they showed Owen Wilson, which was cool to see him. He's going to be in the show. And I guess he's either an agent of TVA or one of the higher ups in TVA, but look, they're holding him like on trial for doing some stuff with the timeline, which is gonna be pretty interesting. I think, like I said, that's where I saw, the Black Widow piece was in this trailer. And they're bringing a lot of people back. Like I said, they're bringing in Owen Wilson, which is cool. I think a couple of the Guardians of the Galaxy actors might be in there. And also a nod to history at the end of the episode. I mean, at the end of the trailer, they showed him jumping out of a Boeing 757 and then having Heimdall like basically bring him back to Adam, which to me, they haven't come out and confirmed it, but to me, that's a nod to this guy, DB Cooper, who was a real live person who they said jumped out of a plane. Now, I caught that immediately. So a lot of news outlets are reporting that today, but I was saying that's the coolest thing in the world to do that little DB Cooper thing. Like,
and they made him look like the drawing too, like this, like his face and the way his hair, it looks just like the drawing.
With the glasses and all that. Yep. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. So I think I'm actually looking forward to Loki. At first, I wasn't, but after watching this trailer, I think it's got potential.
Yeah, I agree. So I noticed one thing, and immediately I realized what they were doing, and then I looked it up afterwards. But immediately when I realized that apparently he's being he's captured by the TVA, which apparently is called the Time Variance Authority, and they're like some kind of time police, like you were saying. So they monitor like all the time stuff in the multiverse or whatever. So when I saw that, when they were going through it in the trailer, I was like, we already know what this is leading up to. We already know what this is leading up to. Because it's already been it wasn't officially announced today, but it was already rumored that our boy Jonathan Majors from Lovecraft Country, also Last Black Man in San Francisco, and other couple of projects, he was announced to be playing one of the biggest villains in Marvel, Kang the Conqueror. And if you know anything about Kang the Conqueror is a time traveling villain. And everyone keeps saying that he is a Thanos level character. So immediately when I saw that, I was like, we already know what this is setting up. We already know.
Yep. Yeah, definitely more on him because he has something to do with another movie we'll probably get into here in a minute. But yeah, I'm glad to see Jonathan Majors get that role. Happy to see a brother get that status of a role, like you said, because he is definitely a Thanos character, and I believe that Phase 4 and Phase 5 or whatever they're doing in the future will all lead up to a Thanos type event like Endgame was, with him being the main villain. Right. And you can definitely see him pulling some. You can see the probably explain some stuff of him pulling some strings in past movies that we didn't even know about because of the powers that he has and the things that he can do. So that's gonna be legit. That's gonna be legit.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely, I would say I'm definitely excited for Loki. So that'll definitely be one to look forward to. Next up, so I read a lot of comics growing up, but I never read this character. So this was one that I think I'm going into it, not knowing a whole lot of information about it, not kind of looking up too much. I kind of want to just find out everything I can for myself when I see the movie, and that's going to be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So the only thing that I know about him is that he has ties to the Mandarin. And so what I hope this movie does is give us a true Mandarin.
Yes.
And takes away whatever happened in Iron Man 2, because honestly, that whole thing in Iron Man 2 with
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, excuse me. With the Mandarin, and then turned out to be an actor, and they wasted that actor. I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but they wasted Ben Kingsley. That's what you're saying, right?
Ben Kingsley. Yep.
Yeah, they wasted Ben Kingsley on that role. They wasted that character because the Mandarin was one of Iron Man's all-time foes, and so I was just like, okay, how are y'all not going to actually give him his just due? But then when they did that little Marvel short, I think a year or two later, and kind of showed him going to prison and everything. And then there was like a little nod in there that the Mandarin is actually a real character in the MCU and not just somebody, not just an actor playing him. I'm thinking they can pick that up and use some of that information in Shang-Chi. And I'm interested to see where they go and how it is. It should be cool because it's like the first time that Marvel's done a full Asian cast and with an Asian leading superhero. So I think it has potential to do well. If the story is good, which Marvel seems to have done with most of the characters, I don't think we have anything to worry about.
True. And man, so many things that they can do with this character. And of course, the Asian community, I feel like the Asian community, like whenever black people kind of meet some kind of threshold within the industry, like Asians are right afterwards. If it's not Hispanics, it's Asians. So we had Black Panther, and that was like $1 billion movie, and then right after, like, they went hard for Crazy Rich Asians, and after when Crazy Rich Asians, like, that put the Asians back on the map, and it kind of showed that minorities can lead. Exactly. So Shang-Chi in the Legend of Ten Rings movie, that's going to be big. I'm definitely going to come out and support that too. And like you said, I'm excited for a proper on-screen adaptation of the real Mandarin. And the Mandarin is not just any villain, like you said, EJ. The Mandarin is Iron Man's arch enemy. Let's get that straight. And
that's what I was saying. I was saying, I don't know why they didn't use him, because in the comics, the Mandarin is one of Iron Man's biggest foes.
Right.
So yeah.
I believe at the time, well, when the MCU was in its infancy, they were trying to stay away from magic and stuff like that, but it eventually had to happen because you had characters like Thor, and exactly. So you and then if you were gonna bring, and when they realized, hey, this is leading up to eventually us doing a Doctor Strange movie, we're gonna have to do magic, and so they were trying to stay away from that stuff, but a lot of the stuff in the MCU is magic and all this intergalactic stuff, so there's no way. So, like you said, I'm glad that they did that short film where they kind of had that Easter egg that the Mandarin was real, and he was watching things from the backdrop. I think in the comics, though, I believe in the comics. Excuse me, I don't know if y'all hear the backdrop of the plane driving by, but in the comics, I don't believe that the Mandarin is actually his father. I could be wrong. If I remember correctly, now I didn't really follow Shang-Chi, but I think when I read up on it in the comics, the Mandarin is not actually Shang-Chi's father, but they're doing that for this movie to introduce him. So this is a change up. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I recall.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, I'm going into this blind. I never read Shang-Chi. I had heard of him probably once when I was a kid, but I would have never thought we'd get to the point to where it would actually be a Marvel movie. So I'm excited, happy for the Asian community, and happy for minorities in general. We're getting not just African American movies, but we're getting other races are getting the chance to step up and lead films too. So it should be cool. It should be good. Like I said, I don't know who they have playing the Mandarin, but from what I'm heard, the guy that's playing Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, I think he's pretty good. I haven't seen too much that he's been in. I think I've seen like one show that he's been in. So it should be cool though. If they like I said, if the story is right, then it don't really matter who they got playing the characters. If they write the characters well, then it should be pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
What have you heard of the show What If on Disney Plus?
I all I know about it is that it's like some animated anthology TV series where it's going to show a bunch of scenarios where certain characters are in different roles than they were in the MCU. To be honest, that's one of my least exciting one of the least exciting projects that I'm excited for. I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, I know the What If was actually a comic series in the comics. There was actually a comic book line or arc about the What If scenario, so they're kind of adapting that too. But I'll take it, I guess.
It's something to watch, definitely. Like I think you said, it's nothing that I'm just going to be like, oh, I can't wait till the next episode like I do The Mandalorian. But
right,
it's something to watch. I'm excited because Jeffrey Wright is doing the voice of the Watcher.
Yes.
You know that he's Commissioner Gordon in the new Batman movie. So it's cool. I'll be watching, just to see how he does. And then they have other stars coming back that are actually doing voices of the characters in What If, like Josh Brolin, Michael B. Jordan. Chadwick Boseman did some stuff before he passed. Mark Ruffalo, Samuel Jackson, Tom Hiddleston. So we're getting actually, all the people who played these characters in the movies are going to be doing it in this animated short as well. So that's cool because a lot of times when you see these animated shorts, they get other people to come in and just do the voices because they don't usually put forth that full effort of hiring the actual actors. So
right.
Yeah, it should be cool. Like I said, something to watch. We'll see how well it does, but the one thing I did see that was cool was they had T'Challa playing the role of Star-Lord. So it was like a what if with what T'Challa got taken from Earth and he became Star-Lord instead of
Really?
So it should be it was. I know they showed it in the trailer too, but that was one of the big ones. I think the two biggest ones that I heard of was Haley Atwell's character basically becoming Captain America instead of Steve Rogers. What if she became Captain America, but like for Britain? And then T'Challa, what if he was taken, by Yondu instead of Chris Pratt's character, and he becomes Star-Lord. T'Challa becomes Star-Lord. So there should be fun little episodes, like I said, just what if, nothing crazy, but it'll be cool to see, one of the last projects that Chadwick did with Marvel too. So, yep. And now Eternals is the next project that they talked about. That was supposed to be released, January of this coming year. It got pushed all the way till November. So, I know about the Eternals and the role that they played in like making the Marvel universe. And we all know that, like one of the Eternals' heads was severed, and that was like one of the locations in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So we know that the Eternals are in the universe now. It'll just be interesting to see how they bring, you know, these characters to the big screen. Angelina Jolie is in it, so that should be cool.
Kid Harington.
Brian Tyree Henry, Atlanta. He's in it as well. So that should be cool. Selma Hayek is in it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's, you know, it's something to where I know the history of the Eternals, but it's interesting to see like what they do with the movie and how they bring it into, because it's kind of different than any movie that they've probably done in the Marvel universe. Really.
Right. Yeah.
So
very diversified cast. First of all, like you said, Brian Tyree Henry, Salma Hayek, Kamal Najani, if I'm pronouncing his name correct, probably butchering it, but I believe those two characters, they're going to be like the first openly gay characters in the MCU.
Gotcha.
Gemma Chan, she's going to be like Kit Harington's love interest. Gemma Chan was also in Crazy Rich Asians, so they got some it's a really diverse cast. Actually, reunion with Kit Harington and Richard Madden, who played his brother in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
So that's exciting. I'm actually really excited for the Eternals because they tried to do something similar with the Inhumans. But the Inhumans went straight to TV for ABC, I believe. And at the time, there was some kind of internal conflict with the MCU and the Marvel TV side on whether or not like shows like Inhuman, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist were like canon to the MCU. And we find out later that they're actually not. And there was this big like internal battle with the studio on keeping those franchises kind of separate, which doesn't make any sense, to be honest. Apparently the what's the name of that show? The Heroes, the Spies, the CIA, the Shield, Agents of Shield. Apparently that's not canon.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently that's what I heard, that it's not canon. That it's a, you know, it's part of the Marvel TV side, but it's not canon. So I don't like, you have Phil Coulson in it. It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
So, but you know, and it just, I don't know, man. But they were trying to do something with the Inhumans, where the Inhumans have been, you know, present all this time, but they haven't shown themselves to you know, the humans, and they've been living on the moon. But the show was horrible. It was garbage. It was terrible. Actually, it's funny because another Game of Thrones guy was in that one. He played the villain.
I
can't remember his character's name.
Yeah, but he was the crazy one on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the guy from the Battle of the Bastards battle. And
that
show failed, and now I think they're trying to do something similar with the Eternals now. So, you know, and if you know about the Eternals, they're basically they're not necessarily human per se, but they're like the prototypes of the humans, where they're more stronger, they're more powerful, and they're in a sense they're like guys to humans for the most part. And then they have these this subspecies that Thanos is related to, and this race of subspecies that they kind of been going to war with over the millennia. And Thanos' race is related to them, and I'm just very curious on how to find out what have they been doing all this time. You know, Thanos has came and threatened the universe, and
we didn't hear from him.
Y'all haven't done anything. So curious on how that's gonna play out.
Yeah, it should be, like you said, with the diversified cast and everything. It should be interesting. I think I got one of the characters mixed up. I think I mixed up the Eternals and the Celestials.
The Celestials, yeah.
But yeah, Eternals, they should be. It should be cool, like you said, with the diversified cast. I'm a Kit Harington fan too, so seeing him play in the MCU is cool. Next up is my boy, Spider-Man. Now, big news dropped earlier this week, before all of the other movies dropped with the MCU. But you know, we were told and we knew that Jamie Foxx was returning a couple months ago, and so that was a big thing, and everybody was wondering, you know, why is he coming back, and out of all the characters, you know, Electro, which, just be honest, that wasn't the greatest written character for Spider-Man that we've seen. It just didn't really fit. Like,
don't you know, I'm Electro.
It just didn't work out with the blue skin and all that stuff, man. It was just kind of weird. But we heard Jamie was coming back, and immediately everyone thought, well, if Jamie's coming back, then they must be tying in the universes together. They got to, because how can he come into this universe playing the same character, you know, playing Electro, and not be connected to that universe? So that was the first thing that came out. You know, and then earlier this week, you know, we learned that Alfred Molina is coming back as Dr. Octopus. So
yeah,
we did pretty well with that in Spider-Man 2, and that was definitely one of the best Spider-Man movies that has ever been made. So it was cool to see that they recasted him. Then a couple hours later, we heard that they were trying to bring on Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst, trying to bring them back too. So it's gonna be cool, man. It's looking to be probably the biggest Spider-Man film in the MCU for sure, and it's definitely helped me out right now because I'm losing it. But it's Spider-Verse type thing is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be like another segue into the multiverse, because apparently Doctor Strange has a big role in it too, and I know, and Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange 2, and it's called the Multiverse of Madness. So I think Spider-Man 3 is actually going to be connected to Doctor Strange 2. So we're going to see a lot of things. I'll tell you though, I'm curious on what they're going to do with Alfred Molina bringing him back as Doc Ock, because Alfred Molina is old, man. He's old.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so you know, you bring this is
St. Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, I don't know, like if you and that's the other thing too. He died. He died in Spider-Man 2. Like Doc Ock dies. He's not, you know, in prison or anything like that. He's dead. So if you're bringing him back, it would have to be like a whole different, you know, before he became, but it's kind of hard, because then Tobey Maguire is older now. So I just don't know what they're doing, and I feel like they're gonna have to change up a lot of stuff to make do for their ages, because they're just, a lot of the actors are older now. This is almost 20 years now, you know. So
true. Very true. I think with Toby, they might try to do something like he's like an older version of Peter, kind of like that character was in the Spider-Verse, where he had been around for a while. He had, you know, messed up his relationship, stuff like that. So they made something like that with him, since he's the oldest one out of all of them. But yeah, Alfred Molina is ancient. So
exactly.
That dude was in his late 40s when I was a sophomore in high school. So yeah.
Right, exactly. I did hear a rumor though. I heard a rumor that so there's a story arc in a Spider-Man comic book, and it was dealing with the Mephisto character. And if you guys don't know and don't follow comics, Mephisto is essentially the devil in the MCU, in the Marvel comic books. He's another name for the devil, but he's basically the devil. He's one of the reasons Ghost Rider has his powers and stuff like that. But apparently in this comic book arc, the whole world finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and Spider-Man kind of, he wants his original life back. He wants his life back. So what he does is he makes this deal with Mephisto, and all this shenanigans happen and stuff like that. And Doc Ock, it's like this whole thing where Doc Ock gets into his body and stuff like that, and we have this story arc called Superior Spider-Man, where Doc Ock is actually in Peter Parker's body and is Spider-Man. And it's this whole little, so I'm hearing rumors that they're going to try to adapt pieces like that. Mm-hmm. So it's just a rumor, but like I said, Alfred Molina's old. I'm curious on how they're going to do that, and I guess we'll see. And so of course Sinister Six. So maybe he's going to try to set something up with that, and you know, and maybe he's going to start the Sinister Six up, or something's going to happen with the timeline, and it's going to take 3 Spider-Mans to defeat him. I guess we'll see. I don't know, man.
But you know, they can also do what they did in Ant-Man and do what they did to Michael Douglas and just de-age his character. They can always do that. They want to put on them. They can with the magic of CGI and the way Marvel's been using it, at least, you know, I'm pretty sure that they got something up their sleeve with. If they're gonna do a Sinister Six, they're probably gonna have to de-age Alfred Molina. So I think it can be done. It's just interesting to see how they do it.
Here's the thing with that though. Michael Douglas is playing an old guy. So in the movie, he's playing an old guy, and for the flashback scenes, they do the de-aging, so it makes sense. Alfred Molina, we don't know what they're doing, but if you're bringing him back, he is going to be hard to. I guess what I'm trying to say is he's not
sustain it for more than a few scenes.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So he's not. It would be different if he's playing, you know, an old guy. Now they could be doing it. I guess if he's some kind of different, you know, universe or whatever. But if you're bringing the Doc Ock back from Spider-Man 2, where he was clearly younger and he was not old, the de-aging really wouldn't make sense. And the de-aging can only do so much, because de-aging, it affects the face, not the body. And Alfred Molina he's kind of a big guy, so, and I'm pretty sure he's even a bigger guy now. So, you know, and that's no jab, but it's just, you know, that's the truth. So you can only do so much.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't see this movie, but I heard people talk about it a lot. I didn't see The Irishman, but I was told that a lot of characters in that, or a couple characters at least, including Robert De Niro, they were de-aged for a large portion of the film.
They were. But again, that movie has flashbacks. They're playing older characters, but they're playing flashbacks in the movie. So for the most of in the movie, you're seeing the old you're seeing, you know, current modern day Robert De Niro and what's his name? Al Pacino. Yeah. And then they do the flashbacks. So you could kind of, even though the de-aging was there, and you can see, they put the stuff on there, and it kind of passed, you can still understand, we understand that, you know, it's a flashback, so it makes sense in the mind, so you can kind of let it pass. But
okay, that makes sense. But Marvel has done this already. Captain Marvel, Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson is like 90. Samuel Jackson was not 90 in that movie.
Samuel Jackson is also black, so we can't, you know, put the same parameters.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Captain Marvel and I saw Samuel Jackson, I said, "This is the best de-aging I have in Hollywood." Period. He looked like Samuel Jackson from Pulp Fiction, like Samuel Jackson from Coming to America. Like, he looked like young Samuel Jackson. Yeah. And so, I'm saying, Jay, if they can do that, and that was an entire movie. So if they can do that for an entire movie, I can guarantee you Alfred Molina's character won't be like the focus.
We'll see.
He'll probably have a substantial role, but it won't be like we need to de-age him for 40 minutes of the hour and a half, 2-hour movie. You know what I'm saying? So
if he has a major role, all I'm gonna say is you're being worn out by me. If he has a major role, and if it's really significant, which he probably will be, because he's Alfred Molina. It's gonna take a lot of convincing. So it would have to be done right. So everybody can't be Samuel L. Jackson. Everybody, you know, it's guys. It's known. Black people just age better than, you know. So when you deal with a black person, it's easy for a CGI artist to come in there and, you know, make it better and make it look good. You know, it's just the genes. Unfortunately, we got the better genes when it comes to, you know, aging. So.
Oh man. Well, at least we got confirmation that Electro will not be blue. So Thank God for that. Hopefully they do a new iteration on their character, and that should be cool. So
right.
But yeah, good news out of Spider-Man. Looking forward to that one. You brought this up earlier, on this next one, Miss Marvel. That should be coming to Disney Plus late 2021. I'm excited. Kamala Khan she's a pretty cool character. I won't say that I've sat and read all the comics because that came out definitely came out since when we were older. But I know, a little bit of the backstory, kind of watched some of the animated shows with her in it and some of the history on her. Her taking her name because she was a fan of Captain Marvel. And seeing everything that she did, as we know, in the failed Avengers game. She was kind of the focus basically of that. And even though I didn't play the game, I watched the walkthrough just to see, like what was going on with the story and everything like that. So my only issue with that is kind of what we were talking about with the whole de-aging thing is how they're going to do with her powers on the show, because that's going to be, I don't think it's something that we've really seen on screen before. Well, so it could kind of be like a what's the character, Mr. Fantastic type of thing, where she can stretch and kind of blow herself up and she can grow and do stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. But like I said, if they do it right, they'll knock it out of the park, because her character has tremendous she has tremendous abilities. So it should be cool if they do it right.
I think the writing is easy. It's easy there, so I'm not really worried about that because, well, number one, we still don't fully understand the power of Captain Marvel, at least in the MCU. We really don't understand why she's so powerful like that. For the most part, there's not really like a clear explanation, and we just kind of been riding with it.
She's stronger than Thor. She's stronger than right. Well, that's another topic for another episode. But yeah.
But my point with that is though, I could easily see something where, because like you said, how would she get? How would Kamala Khan get her powers, and how would Monica Rambeau get hers? I could easily see like a similar scene like how they did with Jude Law, where that an explosion happens or whatever, and maybe Captain Marvel's powers kind of apparently affect both of their characters or something like that, and they're in the vicinity somehow, some way within the story, and they end up getting powers. I could easily see something like that happening, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised, but I think that's just a writing thing that could easily be solved. So we'll just have to see how they do it. I'm not really worried about that. So
yep. But Abby again, is more another minority character. Her being a Muslim character. So that's really cool to see that too. So
that is true. Kamala Khan making her debut.
Next up, Hawkeye. Happy for this man because they did him no justice in the Avengers movies. He never got his own movie, which a lot of people are saying, well, how can you do that? But I think Jeremy Renner is a great actor, and they could have definitely set it up to where they could have done a Hawkeye movie. But we're here now to the show, and basically, they are bringing in Kate Bishop, which is going to be played by Haley Steinfeld. They're bringing in my girl Vera Farmiga from Conjuring, and my favorite movie of all time, The Departed. So I'm a big fan of hers. She's really cool. So should be cool to see that show and just see, because Kate Bishop takes over for Hawkeye in the comics. And to see the relationship that they build it up, him picking her to basically take on the mantle of Hawkeye, which, we see a lot of these main characters are transitioning or giving their mantles over to younger characters now, which is cool to see, Marvel doing that and setting it up so we don't just get a brand new person filling in for the role. So Hawkeye should be good. Like I said, they're giving him his just due. If they do it right, it could be a smash in my opinion.
I agree. First of all, I just want to also say that Vera Farmiga is also a fellow New Jerseyan, and I always got to shout out my fellow New Jerseyans. So glad to have her on the Jersey side of things, the Jersey team. So just wanted to put that out there. So back to the point at hand. Yeah, man, here's one thing. Here's one of the things I have a problem with when these studios develop comic book movies. They feel like it's kind of stupid to give characters their like comic book counterpart costumes. We saw that with the X-Men, where the X-Men just had leather suits and none of them looked anything like their comic book counterparts. Do you know how, even though the toys sold, but do you know how many toys they would have sold more? I bet you they would have made a lot more money
if Wolverine had that yellow outfit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in regards to Hawkeye, I feel like the Marvel Studios kind of made him a lame duck in a way. You had a very strong actor in Jeremy Renner, and it's like him and Black Widow. They just made them like lame duck characters, and just made them the outcast, like I said before. And I feel like you could have made him so cool. First of all, he has a badass costume, and he would have sold a lot of toys. But unfortunately, he's just a white man who can shoot arrows. So, you made him lame. Nothing is you made him uncool. So I hope this brings a little bit more coolness to Hawkeye, but at the same time, like, we still have to see the show, but it looks like they're kind of, catering this more to Haley Steinfeld's character, Kate Bishop. So is he going to get his just due? So we've got to wait and see.
I will say this. We all know what Fox did with X-Men, and the outfits was horrendous, especially looking back on it now. That was terrible. Everybody wearing black leather outfits. There's no distinction between the characters. That's what made X-Men cool in the 90s when the show was on, was that everybody had all these cool colors, and Gambit was like this blue and pink, and Cyclops was blue and yellow, and then you had the bright yellow from Wolverine. So that was cool. I will say this. I have never been a huge fan of Hawkeye's outfit in the comics. I think he looked ridiculous. It wasn't like Green Arrow. Green Arrow was ridiculous because the hat was ridiculous, but I think Green Arrow's looked better, in my opinion, than Hawkeye's did. So I won't say that they still did. They did him terribly wrong. They made his, like you said, they definitely made him a lame duck character, but I'm not going to fault him for getting rid of that outfit. So,
really?
I'm not going to fault him for getting rid of that outfit. That is probably the only character I can say, I'm glad you toned it down. Thank you for giving me a regular outfit. I was happy in Age of Ultron that he kind of got like an updated vest that had like some of that dark purple in it, like it was like inspired from the comics. I was happy about that because he kind of actually in that film he looked more like the Hawkeye in the comics, but they didn't go ridiculous with it and give him that stupid face mask and the pointy things on the ends and all that stupid stuff. So I was happy that they didn't do that. I was happy that they gave a little subtle nod, gave him the color that he had from the comic, and updated it into like his normal stuff. He was terrible in Thor when they showed up. He was wearing a basic security outfit, and he didn't even look like himself in the first Avengers movie because he was wearing something simple too. But I think from Age of on, he's been cool with the colors that he's been wearing. It's kind of like a nod to the character, but not gonna fault him for getting rid of that comic accurate out.
I disagree.
For it, let's talk. I'm just saying. I mean, we all know that Wolverine's outfit was kind of over the top, but his over the top, that was cool as shit. Like let's just be real. Hawkeye was wearing like a half dress, had these pointy things coming off the eyes. He had the slick back thing over his head. The colors were cool. The color scheme is what I liked about the comic version of Hawkeye. It wasn't the outfit. He had these weird purple wristbands, and then like these boots that were like a little bit more lighter than the actual outfit. They were like almost pink. Like I wasn't feeling the outfit for Hawkeye in the comics at all. So when he was in Avengers, when he was in the Age of Ultron, and they kind of gave the nod to the colors in his suit, I was like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Now, could they have made the suit look cooler than that? That is true. And then they kind of went and changed his character to the Ronin character in Endgame. So, they kind of went away from, the normal Hawkeye character there. So I am a fan of what they did with his outfits, not a fan of what they did with the character. So
I feel like they could have modernized it and made it look more better. Of course, it wasn't going to look like, how it came out back in the 60s and stuff. But I feel like they could have modernized it, just like they could have modernized the X-Men. But I feel like, to me, I feel like they don't make those choices because they make the studio thinks like he looks bad in them or not. I feel like they make those choices because they don't want those costumes kind of competing with the main stars' costumes, So, like they gave Captain America a modernized suit. So, why they could have did the same for Hawkeye. But, you got to kind of, when it comes to your big three stars with Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, then they gotta dress the other the outcasts down. That's how I looked at it. So that's what it was to me, more than it was like what you said, or you just didn't like how it looked. I think it was okay. Well, hey, it's like I don't know. This goes on in the acting industry. Not to go off on a tangent, but this goes on. This is an actual thing in the industry. You have a actor, like you have a lead. You have a female lead, and she's hot and beautiful, right? And they will purposely not cast a female that possibly looks better than her, just because they don't want two good-looking women on a show, or another good woman that can compete with the main. And that can compete with the main actress in looks. So they're gonna get someone that's less attractive to star alongside the main lead. So I feel like that's what they did with Hawkeye. Because to be honest, if you seriously too, if you go back or you pull up pictures of Captain America and Hawkeye, they have very similar looking costumes actually. So
yeah.
The only difference is, Captain America has, stars and stripes, but there's very similar costumes.
Now, if they would have focused on Hawkeye's current comic book outfit, it's where he just has like the purple goggles on his eyes, and he has like the black and purple like cutoff shirt, like that outfit. Mm-hmm. Then I was cool. But that whole I got an H on my forehead to signify that I'm Hawkeye. I'm good, bro. Like I know you're Hawkeye. I don't need the H. I don't need all the other stuff. So if they made it towards like the 90s current version of his outfit, then yeah, that would have been cool. That would have been cool.
Gotcha. Okay.
But let's keep it moving. Next one. We touched on it earlier, but we'll go ahead and talk about it just a little bit. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's gonna be cool, man. Bringing in Elizabeth Olsen back as Scarlet Witch again. Now, are we getting Baron Mordo back for this one?
Yeah, I believe he is returning. The rumor is he is going to be one of the villains for sure.
Okay, now I can't say old boy's name. A great actor, can't pronounce his name.
Chiwetel.
You want to look at it?
Chiwetel.
Okay, I'll let you say it.
Audience actually got to work alongside Chiwetel back in the day when I started my acting career. I was actually appeared in this small film. It was called 12 Years a Slave, and all the scenes that I was in, got cut off. So yeah.
Oh man. Oh Lord. Chiwetel. I never knew that. I would always say, we're not gonna get into that, but yeah, I never knew that.
Hey, I just want to make sure that's my pronunciation. I don't know if that's the.
Oh, that's your pronunciation. Gotcha. Because I was always like Chiwetel.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know Chiwetel or.
Yeah.
I know it's like that, but he's a great actor. I remember when he was in the movie with Denzel. Like that was like I had seen him in other stuff before that. But I was like, hey, he's really good at Inside Man. I was like, I liked him in Inside Man. So he blew up after that. So yeah.
Yeah, man. He's had a long career. And I don't want to bring this up, but I remember seeing him in this. This is a very popular gay transgender theater thing called Kinky Boots, where this guy is I don't know, is this transgender guy or this gay guy? He's a cross dresser, and it's like this big theater. They made it to a movie, and he actually starred in. And I was like, Oh, this dude's been out here for a while because I think it's kind of an older movie, but he's been out here for a while, so he's not just an actor. Chiwetel is one of those actors that are thespians, and it's just
Broadway.
right. So they don't just do film. These guys are the craft. They all about their craft. So he's very great guy.
Yeah. He played Barramoda. That was a good role. I liked how they did the transition from him being, helping Doctor Strange and being kind of like a he wasn't really a mentor, but he was just more of like a guide to what he ended up doing at the end. Taking old boy's powers and kind of turning into the villain that we know him for. So that should be cool. That should be cool.
Yep. And then again, like we said, this is possibly connecting to Spider-Man 3.
I'm pretty sure Dormammu will be back too in some form or fashion.
Yep.
That's like Strange. That's Doctor Strange's arch nemesis right there. So, excited for it. Like you said, Elizabeth Olsen. I think he'll even tie in. Doctor Strange will probably tie into the WandaVision show at some point a little bit too. So,
by the way, Dorian. For y'all who don't know, Dorian is my fiance. She's my future wife or whatever, my baby. Shout out. But I try. She's not into MCU films like I am, but she watches them because I watch them. And for some strange reason, she likes Doctor Strange. And
that's cool. I got all of the ones to like.
Yes, Doctor Strange is her favorite superhero.
That's so weird, bro. That is so weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. I'm like, Doctor Strange, like he's cool, but she just likes him. She likes him. So
Doctor Strange is a lot cooler in the comic books. Don't get me wrong. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's doing a good job, but the Doctor Strange in the comics, he's now that Doctor Strange is legit. The one on TV, the one on the movies, he's cool. I like him, and I'm glad they hired Benedict Cumberbatch to play him. But he ain't got nothing on the actual character like in the comic books.
Right. But we'll see. He's getting powerful. So.
Yeah, he is. He did his whole little Iron Man story arc too in the first movie, so that was cool.
Right.
We'll see where they take him in the next one. And that one's scheduled for March 25th. 2022 though, so we got a little bit for that.
Hopefully the theaters.
And they said that Spider-Man will be also starring in the film too, so Tom Holland will make an appearance. Next, Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know if you got a chance to read this is recent within the past 10 years. They did the whole Jane story arc, taking over the Thor mantle, basically taking over as Thor. She had cancer, and she ended up taking over mantle of Thor.
I knew of it, but I didn't read it. I never really read Thor growing up. So, but I did, like you said, the whole Jane as Thor that was recent. So I know of it, but I know of the arc. I know about everything because I watch this YouTuber. His name is Comics Explained, and he does a good rendition or overview of a lot of the popular comic books, and I remember him going over that one.
But yeah, this one is cool. The last Thor to me was the best Thor. Was probably the best of the 3 Thor movies that they had.
Yes, it was.
Taika, what is it? Waititi? That's his name, right?
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. All right. Yeah, he did his thing with that last movie because it actually brought out the humor in Thor, but still gave you the great story and the drama to go with it. So I think Thor: Love and Thunder, with him coming back at the helm, should be pretty good with the storyline and everything, and bringing Natalie Portman back, because I in my heart at least, I knew she was gone. Like I didn't think she was coming back because they used a different actress to kind of like portray her a little bit in Endgame when they did the flashback scene, or when they went, not flashback, but when they did the time travel scene, they had somebody else just do a little quick version of her. So I was like, if she can't come back for that, ain't no way she's coming back, to Marvel. But
Right.
She's actually coming back, so that should be cool because she was pretty good in the first one. So
Right. I think she didn't come back because apparently well, not apparently, the Thor 2 what was it called? The Thor something darkness or whatever.
with the dark elves,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
ether,
Yeah. Thor and the Dark World or whatever.
possibly the worst, possibly one of the two worst movies
Yeah.
of Marvel. Yeah,
Yeah, but there was a female director who directed that one, and I think they, Natalie Portman and that director kind of worked really good together, and I think she had, situation where she's like, look, if she's not coming back, then I'm not doing it, and she didn't come back for the third one, so, but I guess then somebody must have dropped the bag for her. Then somebody dropped the bag and said, hey, you're gonna be a major part of this, so. Natalie. First of all, let me say this. Natalie Portman is a G. Let's get that out there.
Yeah.
For y'all don't know, she could do stuff like that. I don't care if she says she want a specific director to come out and do a movie with her. She has every right to do that. Natalie Portman played in one of the greatest movies of all time, Leon the Professional.
Wait, say that again.
Leon the Professional.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one, Jay.
You never seen The Professional?
The Professional. Who's in that?
Who's
in it besides Jay?
With the hitman? What is his name? He's a French actor. His name is Jean Reno. And
nope, never seen it, Jay.
Gary Oldman was. This is your homework. I don't care what you do to get it. Pirate it. Sorry, actually, we don't hear the SHU program.
We don't.
We
don't.
Pay for your stuff. Yeah, you ain't gonna get me going to jail. But you rent it, whatever you got to do. John Reno, Natalie Portman in one of her first films. This is probably her breakout role, to be honest, if I remember correctly. And the legendary Gary Mother effing Oldman. In one of the best roles.
Yeah, he's just a legend. I'll probably watch it for that reason to see Gary Oldman. Not so much. Not saying I do like Natalie Portman, but I'll probably watch it for Gary Oldman.
Right. If you see Jean Reno, you'll recognize him. Like, you probably don't know his name, but once you see him, you're like, yeah, I know that guy.
You keep saying John Reno, and I know this probably isn't the same guy, but I keep thinking of the French guy from Ocean's 12 for some reason.
I can't tell you. Was he in? I think he was in Ocean's 12, but I can't tell you for sure because I haven't really watched. I could never sit down and watch the Oceans. They're not really good movies to me, so I could never sit down.
Oh my God! All right, well we're not gonna get into that this time.
Wait. Here's Godzilla. Do you remember 1999 Godzilla? The French guy who was helping out Matthew Broderick.
1999 Godzilla. He's kind of I'm not gonna say dark skin, but he's kind of like, you can tell he's not like. He don't look white. That guy.
He's like Greek looking, and
Yeah. I think I know you're talking about. He wears like a little beanie or something.
Yeah, and he has like this one scene where he's like, "Oh, the Americans, they make terrible coffee." Like he's the one that sneaks him into the arena where all the Godzilla eggs are and stuff like that.
He has the explosives.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I know you're talking about now. I know the actor. Right, I know the actor. Yeah. But I still have never seen that movie. I've never seen that movie you're talking about. But okay. I think I have heard of it, though. One
more movie. I know I don't want to stay on this too long. Have you recently seen Netflix's with Spike Lee? Spike Lee's last film, the what's it called? The Vietnam movie, The Five Bloods. Did you see that?
I saw some of it. I didn't finish it.
Well, he's the bad guy at the end of the film. He's the one that's trying to stop the main characters from completing their mission. So he's definitely a legend. He's in that film as well.
Gotcha. Okay, I think I know who you're talking about now. I can't put a movie that I'm just like, oh, that's what he's from. But I know the guy. I know the guy you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, Natalie Portman has put a lot in this game. She's also, she plays Padme in Star Wars. So she's been doing this. She's been doing this since she was a kid. So she can, she could do her thing. So I'm glad to see that she's back, and can't
I think
wait to
she's
see
more
what she does.
genius for V for Vendetta though, myself.
Oh yeah, great movie as well.
But yeah. But yeah, so Thor: Love and Thunder. Don't know a whole lot about it besides the main thing of her being a female Thor. So that should be cool. Chris Pratt is going to be in it. Oh, I forgot, my boy is in it. Let me go ahead and just give him his little introduction. One of the best actors of my generation. Played in a movie when he was a child called Empire of the Sun.
Yes.
Also is who we recognize, who I recognize, who everyone should recognize as the best Batman of all time, and that is Christian Bale. He will be playing the main villain in the movie, Gore the God Butcher. So
yes.
I will watch it no other than to see Christian Bale, because that's my dude. Pretty much anything Christian Bale plays in, I watch. So
yeah, Christian
Bale
is also a legendary actor who's gonna go down as one of the best actors in Hollywood history. But yeah, he's that was a big pickup for Marvel. I'm actually very surprised he wants to do another superhero film.
Oh yes, I just knew after Dark Knight that was it, bro.
Right. I didn't think he would want to do anything else like that. So, but he's playing. I guess he's gonna feel like he's played villain roles. Like, he's known for American Psycho, so he's known for being he's actually very known for playing a bad character. But yeah, seeing him play Gore the God Butcher is gonna be interesting. And if a lot of people don't know who Gore the God Butcher is, he's one of the most powerful characters. Villains in Thor's lore. So he is no pushover. And if you want to know more about him, subscribe to my boy, like I said, Comics Explained. He goes over the whole Gore the God Butcher story arc, and he doesn't play. Gore the God Butcher is
serious.
He's very serious. I would almost say he's almost Thanos level, if I'm to be honest, but I don't know if they're going to go that route with him. But very powerful character.
Yep. So I'm down for it, definitely, because he's in it.
Yep. And Tessa Thompson is coming back too, so interesting.
True. So yeah, that should be good, man. That should be good. I'm gonna get through some of these last ones because we still got some Star Wars stuff to go over. But they briefly touched on Black Panther 2, didn't give a whole bunch of information, just saying that they weren't gonna recast the character, which I know me and you have both said we think that is a mistake. It'll be interesting to see what they do now. I think that means that they're going to go ahead and just pass it on to Shuri, which Shuri eventually does become the Black Panther in the comics, so we'll see. Here's the thing, I think it's just too soon. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, we just got Black Panther, and rest in peace Chadwick Boseman. And he played the hell out of T'Challa, honestly. And when you look back on it, it's hard for you to envision or picture somebody else stepping up and playing that role. I just think for it being, because it was supposed to be T'Challa at the forefront as far as heading the Avengers going forward.
Right.
So to take the character out and just pass it on to another character so soon, I think, in my opinion, might be a mistake. I'm not saying that you just rush and cast whoever, but I do think that, they should have probably found someone that they really, really liked and tried to bring him into the role. Like I said, I know it's too soon, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm still going to go watch it. I'm still going to support, obviously, and definitely going to support Shuri if she does take over, supporting Black women. SHU Program, we support Black women here, so definitely we're gonna go. Like I said, definitely gonna go watch it. But I do think that for the time being, I think they should have kept T'Challa as a character, not just for him leading and showing the Black man leading the Avengers and him taking that challenge going forward, but just for what it'll do for Black kids and Black boys growing up seeing that character leading phase 4, phase 5, you know what I'm saying? So, but we'll see. I'm still interested in it, of course, still gonna watch it, bringing everybody back. And who knows, they may bring your boy Michael B. Jordan back, so we'll see.
Well, I hope they don't, but and that's no jab at Michael B. Jordan, but Killmonger's, in my thing, his line is done. Let's not bring him back. Please. If you bring him back, it just shows that the writing is incompetent. But what I will say though is in regards to the writing, Ryan Coogler has a big giant task in front of him, man. That's not a job that I would want.
Not at all. Not
right.
at all.
People are talking about, oh well, we don't want to. I'm glad that they don't cast somebody to they don't recast the role, because that would be such a huge weight on his shoulders. No, the huge weight is on if you don't cast him, because what do you do now? What do you do? What story do you write? Yeah. And you're gonna have to figure out a way to write out Chadwick T'Challa. You have to find a way to write out T'Challa and make it make sense to where you can continue the Black Panther story, period. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are not understanding that. Like, they're talking about it's too soon. I feel you, it is too soon, because in this situation, no one expected Chadwick Boseman to pass away. This is a very unexpected death for the mass. His family might have known. We found out his family known about his sickness and stuff like that, and it was private. We understand it, but the masses didn't know this, and especially the Marvel execs would have known this, because I'm pretty sure if they knew this, they would have kind of prepared for this, to happen, and had a contingency plan or something. But man, the story that Ryan Coogler is going to have to come up to write T'Challa out and have it make sense.
It's going to have to be one of the best scripts of all time.
Right.
Jay.
And I agree. And I'm telling you right now, it's not.
It's
not. And I say that with all due respect to Ryan Coogler, because I have major respect to him. He's one of the directors I look up to. He did an incredible job with Creed. He did an incredible job with Fruitvale Station. I'm always going to be one of the first people in line to watch Ryan Coogler stuff. But you're going to have to pull a rabbit out of your ass to blow people away with this next story, because it's going to be weak. It's going to be weak. And I feel like here's what I don't want. What I don't want is you put out this film and it's not impactful, and then you guys are like, damn, we actually probably should have recast the role. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, right. No, I feel like what they should do is cancel Black Panther 2. That's what I feel like you should do. They should do. Cancel Black Panther 2 and let this current slate of films play out, and let him come back.
Yep.
Yeah, and let him come back in Phase 5. Then and by that time, you can bring a story out that can include him, and then that gives a lot of people time to grieve and accept a new character. There has been plenty of shows where
on Viv.
Exactly. On Viv. But not even on Viv. One of my favorite shows HBO did was Spartacus. And the main character played by, I cannot think of his name. His name escapes me. But the main character who plays Spartacus, the main actor who plays Spartacus, he passed away from Hodgkin's lymphoma. And they were even gearing up. Like, at first they thought it was in remission, and they thought he was coming back, and they thought they were going to be able to try to get him back. But it came back in the middle of filming, and he passed away, unfortunately. And you know what they did? They carried on that show, and they recast the role with a young guy named Liam McIntyre, and he came in. They finished that series, and we got a beginning to end. You know what I'm saying? So and he brought the role justice. Like he did right by that role. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he became Spartacus, and he carried on that legacy. And for y'all to just, I'm ranting, EJ, but I'm gonna wrap this up real quick.
No, you good, bro. You good.
Let me just say this for the audience, and I know a lot of people going to disagree with me because, to be honest, there is no right or wrong answer with this. You know what I'm saying? There's really not. But my thing is simply, you got to understand this, people. And I know it might come off as harsh, but it's really not. It's just serious. It is what it is. Chadwick Boseman is not T'Challa.
He's Chadwick Boseman.
Boseman. Chadwick Boseman plays a character named T'Challa, in great performance, but he is not T'Challa. T'Challa is a comic book character. T'Challa's character storyline is still going on right now in the comics.
Right. You can't just cancel out the character like he never existed. Like, right.
Exactly.
Right.
So you have to separate the two. Unfortunately, I know it sucks, and we want to bend these characters to that, but it's the same goes for Marshala, Ali. I can't pronounce his name correctly when he's playing with Blade.
Exactly. We all love Wesley Snipes. but it's just at a time to where it's time to pass the torch.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, Chadwick passed away well before his time. I think he had an amazing career ahead of him. He had already done amazing films leading up to it. But as you said, and it's not to be harsh because, you know, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. I had that on my wall at work in my office for the last 5 months. I mean, for the last 2 months. So definitely, it's no disrespect to him at all. But like you said, it's a comic book character.
Right.
And at the end of the day, for instance, Tony Stark, right? We all know, and we all truly believe that RDJ is it. Right, he is Tony Stark. Like when I see him, I don't even think of Robert Downey Jr. I think of Tony Stark. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there will come a time in the MCU in the future, like down the road somewhere, where they're gonna have to get somebody else.
Right.
Like and they're gonna have to bring him back, like to do something or to show, like, and they're gonna have to recast. The same thing with Captain America. So it's like you can't get too attached with the actor playing the role. You have to accept that there's going to be different interpretations of that character. And with this case, I know that we're hurting because this is, like you said, it was unexpected. We didn't see this coming at all. We didn't know about it until he passed away. So it hurts. But the best thing, like you said, would have been to cancel Black Panther 2 or postpone Black Panther 2 until Phase 5, till 2023, 2024. And give everybody time to, like you said, to grieve and to heal, and then throw a young, fresh actor in there and let it roll.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no harm in doing that because you have plenty of films and TV shows and characters that can fill in for him until it's time for him to come back.
Right. And I also, you know, someone brought this up too. This will be my last thing on this. Someone also brought this up too, and I, you know, it even made me think about that even more, support that even more. Is that, you know, when Black Panther was the beginning of T'Challa's, you know, role,
exactly,
in his story, and unfortunately, you know, Chadwick Boseman passed, but this is for him for you to kill off T'Challa. It just doesn't make sense to do with in regards to the storyline and to the story that you guys are trying to tell. So, you know, I hear a bunch of people saying, oh, well, he going back to, you know, he dies and he wants to give up his life. That makes no sense.
Nope.
You know, so it I don't know, man. It just, you know, it to me, it just makes sense to, you know, cast a different actor, give another young black actor the opportunity, because I feel like Chadwick Boseman, I don't know Chadwick Boseman, so I'm, you know, but I'm just saying if I was in his place, and, you know, I would want somebody to continue the role. So,
exactly.
And I feel like most actors would want that, to be honest. I feel like they wouldn't be. I feel like most actors, especially black actors, wouldn't want to be selfish and be like, well, you know, nobody can have this role after me. You know, so. But, you know, it is what it is. I guess we'll see how it plays out, man.
Yeah, we'll see how it is. But like I said, still going to support and it. Ryan Coogler, we pray for you, man. That's all we can say is we hope it does well. Moving on to the next film we have, this will be to theaters, not Disney Plus, is Captain Marvel 2. Kind of spoke about it earlier. You know my feelings on it. We talked about Tiana Paris and Monica Rambeau, then bringing in Miss Marvel. I remember, if I remember correctly, I don't know if this was you or if this was Riley. For y'all don't know, this is Riley's a friend of ours who we game with. Was it you or was it Riley that was really upset at how the character was in Captain Marvel 1? And just how...
I think Riley was more upset because I don't even think he watched it.
He was just mad because...
Right. I was disappointed in some of the choices made, because I really did want to see a proper Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, who was a man, and right. I wanted to see how that worked out. Where, you know, it would have been better. You know, I don't know. I just would have loved to see the mantle passed down and stuff like that, like how they did in the comics. I didn't like how they did it in the movie, but that wasn't something that was going to stop me from watching it. So, you know, I thought Captain Marvel was actually a decent movie.
I think some people were saying they didn't like the way that she portrayed it, but I think we just didn't have enough time to get to know the character right before she was just thrust into Avengers, and then all of a sudden she's supposed to be the strongest. I think that kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But I will definitely, with the additions of the characters that they're bringing in with Captain Marvel 2, and I don't know who the villain is going to be yet, but should be pretty legit. They're bringing it back to today's time, 2020, instead of it or beyond, instead of it being the 1990s like it was. Yeah, so should be good film, man. Should be good.
Also, it's being filmed, directed by a black director too. Her name is Nia DaCosta.
That's right.
So she's helming it. So let's get it.
Yep, definitely go out and show love and support. Sure. Next we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Personally, here, this might just be my opinion. I have been a fan of the Ant-Man movies. When they first hired Paul Rudd, I was like, Paul Rudd's a good actor, but Ant-Man, but then I thought about it and I was like, actually, he's perfect because he fits that quirkiness that the character would be.
Right.
So I've enjoyed them, and I think the second one was actually a lot better than people give it credit for. It was pretty good. And with this new one, and I'm bringing the whole cast back, and Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, Evangeline Lilly, should be pretty good and fill in a lot of gaps of what he did in game, for them to run, jump, and do all that kind of stuff like that. I think Quantumania should answer a lot of questions of how it was possible for him to do that and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm actually a fan of the Ant-Man and Wasp series. And so I think that they're headed in the right direction.
I agree. I actually enjoyed the Ant-Man series too. I actually really wanted to. I wanted people. First of all, I know. I wanted people to kind of take Ant-Man a little bit serious because in the comics, Ant-Man is he's the founder of the Avengers.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
And he's also the creator of Ultron. So
yep.
Yep. Yeah. So a lot of stuff got taken away and pulled from Ant-Man. So it seems like a lot of Ant-Man doesn't have a lot to work with nowadays in the film, but he's a very important character within the comic book MCU mythos. But I'm glad to see that they're giving him Kang as a major villain because that's crazy.
Like that,
yeah. Very surprised, but him and Evangeline Lilly, I think they make a great couple on camera, and the chemistry is great. The only problem with Ant-Man 2, which it wasn't a bad movie, is just the villain wasn't just Ghost, her name was. She just wasn't a very strong villain, and you didn't feel like anything was really on the line per se. But I'm not going to say the movie wasn't entertaining. Like, it was very entertaining. I actually liked it more than the first one, and I want to see Lawrence Fishburne come back and play Goliath. They hinted at it, and I thought we was probably going to see something, but maybe we'll see something in the next film. So next time. So I'm excited.
I think what made the second film good too was the whole, them actually finding Michelle Pfeiffer's kid, his wife.
That too, yeah.
That was the cool part about her still being alive, which they hinted at in the first one, Right. But yeah, that was cool seeing that whole adventure for that. So like you said, I'm excited to see where they take this next one.
Which will be good. Jonathan Major. So yep.
Yep. So they're heading in the right direction on that one too. Skip over this one real quick, but the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're doing a holiday special, kind of like Star Wars Day. But we'll skip over to the next one. Good luck with that one. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That one won't be until 2023. We don't know a whole lot about it, but everybody's supposed to be coming back for that. Interested to see how what they do with Gamora now. So yeah.
Well, I don't know. I really don't have any idea on this because there's really there isn't really information on it right now because it's still kind of far out. They did bring James Gunn back, right? Or is it going to be a new director?
Yeah, they brought him back. I think
Okay.
it'll be his last Guardians of the Galaxy film. Yeah.
Okay, because I know he's doing the Suicide Squad, and so I'm curious how that's gonna come out. But yeah, this really I mean, yeah, Gamora. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Gamora back, and she's probably gonna be the Gamora from another timeline from Endgame. I'm more interested on who the villain is gonna be and stuff like that. I'm more than 100% sure that we're gonna see Adam Warlock make his appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
About time. About
Yeah.
time.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, right now the story. I mean, there's just really isn't anything out there yet to really anything substantial yet. So I guess we'll wait till we get closer to 2023.
Yep. Next, Moon Knight. Very interested in this personally. My uncle used to read Moon Knight comics, and I didn't read it as much as he did, but I did read. When I'll go visit him, I would read some of the comics on Moon Knight, who is also known as Mark Spector. Basically, Marvel's version of Batman. Basically, and getting a chance to see Oscar Isaacs, who is killing it right now with these roles, man. Him be playing Moon Knight, that should be pretty legit. So I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't follow Moon Knight in the comics, so this is going to be new for me. I mean, I knew of him, but I never really followed him. So I'm gonna have to actually do some education on his mythos, and of course with Oscar Isaac coming in, I know it's going to be good. So we'll see.
I mean, basically to give you like a little 10-second overview, he's a millionaire. I mean, he's a billionaire, just like Bruce Wayne. Got the cool costume and everything, just like Bruce Wayne. He suffers from DID, dissociative identity disorder. So he has like these, like he thinks he's like this ancient like moon god or whatever. Like it's kind of crazy how they play off of it in the show, because like he goes back and forth from like that persona to being regular Mark Spector. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. But Oscar Isaacs can act his ass off, so him being in it, I think he can bring that character to life. And if they flush it out like they did in the comic books, it should be pretty cool.
Okay.
She-Hulk, that is date to be determined, but I'm pretty sure that's 2022. I don't know the young lady who they cast, Tatiana Maslany. Do you know who that is? I've heard of her, but I don't think I've watched anything that she's been in.
No, I've never heard of her.
The interesting thing to me, though, the news on that was Tim Roth returning as Abomination.
Yes.
So
yes,
I'm interested in that, and Mark Ruffalo's going to be in it also. Interested to see if they're going to bring back what's the girl's name? Liv Tyler. It's interesting to see who all they're going to bring back from that original Hulk movie, which to me wasn't that bad. Everybody gives my boy Edward Norton a bad rap, but anyway, She-Hulk. I'll actually watch that. I think that should be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm very curious about how they're going to do that and how that's going to turn out, and I hope Mark Ruffalo has a decent role, because they're not giving him a movie anytime soon, it appears. So I just hope they I hope they give him something. Maybe I can't recall if it's still like a movie right issue with him or not, but I just hope he has a significant role, because I want to see more Hawk. We for some reason we've been getting less Hawk in the movies, so yeah, and I just we'll see. I'm excited to see how they're gonna do this.
Yep. Next, which was new to everybody, I think, was just Secret Invasion, which is Samuel Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn is secretly one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. I think he kills every role that he does. So seeing him reprise the role of he played, what was the was it not the Kree? It was the
Skrull.
The Skrull.
On the Skrulls.
Yeah. The Skrull, Talos in that movie. Yeah. Seeing him come back with him and Samuel Jackson, that should be cool, man. Secret Invasion was a big storyline in the comics, so seeing how they do it or adapt it for a storyline, and them giving Samuel Jackson his own stuff, because we didn't really see too much from him in like the last couple of Marvel movies. So
right,
that should be pretty good. That should be pretty good.
This is one I'm not actually excited for, only because it seems like we're about to get a watered down version of the Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like none of the superheroes are gonna be really involved, and it's just gonna be tracking down. You know what it seems like. This seems like this is about to be a version of that movie District 9.
Oh, District 9.
You have all the aliens,
Oh,
refugees living on Earth.
yeah, I was not a fan of District 9 at all.
I actually
But
thought it was a good movie, but yeah.
I think that Secret Invasion is more like a lead up to Secret Wars. You feel me? Like, I think it's like Secret Invasion. It might be like maybe 1-2 seasons at max, and they kind of bring you up to speed to let you know what's going on in the world and all the people that they find that are actually, Skrull invaders. Like, I think it could be one of those where they focus the show on trying to figure out who these big names are. They might have a superhero here, a superhero there to come in for an episode to do something, but I think it'll lead up to like a Secret Wars type event, actual movie. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, that's possible. I hope that's the case. When it's a TV series, usually it stays in the TV realms.
but this is Marvel though. This is different. All these shows are leading up to. They all tie in. This isn't like this ain't Netflix Marvel now. This is Disney Plus. This is actual Marvel. So we'll see.
I hope so.
And then they re-announced Blade again, which just tell me a date and quit telling me Blade's coming out. I'm tired of that. Blade is too important to me myself. This is a character with the same name as myself, Eric. I'm too invested in this character for you to do me wrong. You don't understand. I read Blade when I was a kid, and first of all, when you're young and you got a character that has the same name as you, and he's black, right. that I latched on to Blade from a young age, and Blade means way too much to me. So you need to put this movie out, right. And Mahershala Ali, he better play the hell out this role because we all know Wesley Snipes killed it. I'm sorry, right. I don't care what about the second and third one. I don't care. He killed it. So. Right, Mahershala Ali, you need to do your thing, and they need to release the time frame because Mahershala Ali he ain't a young boy, so
that's true.
Like they need to stop waiting, putting this movie back, talking about Mahershala Ali gonna get the role. We look up, it's 2024, and he's like 50. They need to hurry up the movie out, but
yeah,
it should be whenever it does come out.
Blade is also one of my favorite franchises of my entire life. So, So I quote that movie from time to time. You know this, so and exactly. Also my main character from my TV show Darkstalkers, his name is Eric, and that actually comes from two characters. It comes from Blade, Eric, and it also comes from the Crow, the Crow's character. His name is Eric in that movie too, Eric Draven. So, and they're both the thing about them is both of those characters are immortal. So that's where the Eric name actually comes from. And that's why I named my character Eric, and he's actually immortal. So my character in Darkstalkers actually pulls from Blade, and he pulls from the Crow. That's why, so this is inside stuff if y'all ever watch the TV show. But
just for y'all listening, Jay lied to us and told me that the character's name got he definitely lied. Neither here nor there. Deacon, we're going back to Blade now because the first Blade, man, that was a classic. With Deacon Frost and my boy Stephen Dorff. That was just a classic movie. Which I hate that Stephen Dorff didn't watch more stuff because I think he's a great actor too.
And they could have did a little bit more stuff with his character in the movie. I don't feel like he was actually a strong villain. But
I think they were trying to find their footing. This was like the first Marvel thing that, like, for me at least, I remember as a kid, like in our lifetime, like the first Marvel, like real Marvel movie in theaters. So I think they were trying to see what was going to work, and then it actually was a hit, and they were like, "Oh wow, Blade actually did pretty well." And they tried to do the whole Guillermo del Toro second one, and so.
But Stephen Dorff. That was just the odd choice to play opposite Wesley Snipes. So I never, to this day, like he and I like him. He's a good actor and he was decent in the movie. It's just he will forever be like a weird choice in that movie, like to play opposite Wesley Snipes. And
he was known more for like being a child actor than all of a sudden just popping up in Blade. So yeah.
And Blade will always have the best movie intro of all time. So
Oh, bro, the intro to that movie, nothing will ever be.
yes,
Like, as a child, I watched that scene. I've probably seen that over 200 times.
same.
I used to just sit and rewind that to the beginning and just watch the scene with Wesley Snipes pumping his fist at the end the whole time, like every single time. So yeah, y'all, Marshall, you got some big. You want to talk about big shoes to fill? You got some big shoes to fill, my friend.
Yes, he does.
Really. So
yes, he does.
Good luck, and can't wait for that one. Now this is one that you told me about, Jay, and they also re-announced again, Deadpool 3. What was the backstory you said that you heard about it?
They did say that they were going to apparently Ryan Reynolds was able to pitch a story to Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige they're going with it. They're going with the script, this new script, and apparently it is going to be rated R. And apparently it's gonna. This is supposed to be some kind of leeway into the X-Men and into the universe itself. And I think apparently from what I hear, now this is all rumor now, but from what I'm hearing is that they're gonna make it seem as if Deadpool was in the MCU all along. So I'm very curious how they're gonna do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I did hear though, and this is one of my favorite like animated shows on TV right now. I'm a huge fan of Bob's Burgers, so I watch that show pretty much religiously when it comes on every week. But the writers from that show are supposed to be writing Deadpool 3. So I'm on that simple reason myself. So yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see how that one goes. And then the big news at the end was Fantastic Four is finally coming.
Yes.
It will be directed by John Watts, I believe. So we will see. I just know that the casting has to be right, because if you don't get the casting right, movie's not going to be right.
If y'all don't get John Krasinski, I'm just sorry, I gotta step in here. If y'all don't get John Krasinski, it's an automatic fail.
John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, there's no better pair for it. Period. I appreciate what y'all tried to do with Michael B. Jordan, and that's cool, but let's just keep it like the comic books had it.
Yes.
And let's just get good actors to play these roles. You know.
Yep, I agree.
The possibilities are endless. They have one of the best villains ever in Dr. Doom. So if they cast right, man, this is one of the things I think if you cast right, it'll be hard to fail.
I think this is also one of the things where you need to listen to the fans. You have, first of all, John Krasinski himself, and him and his wife, they've come out and said that they are interested in the role. I think John Krasinski was trying to actually talk to Kevin Feige behind the scenes and actually lobby for the role. And this is, the fans want this. You're gonna sell tickets. So, you know, this is one of the things. If I was in a studio chair, hey, how much we got to pay you to come on, man? You know, this is the time to get it right. We've been getting Fantastic for wrong all this time. Let's get it right. Let's get it right when it comes to the MCU.
Right. I mean, you got to, like you said, this is the first time that they're getting these characters, and so you got to put your best foot forward with hiring them. And my thing is, if you know what the people want, and it's not like it's a couple people, like there are entire forums with like hundreds of thousands of people that talk about this kind of stuff, and everybody is saying, you know, John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, for sure, for Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic, like this is, go ahead and do it, man. Like and they both can act. That's the thing. It's not like we're just bringing up random actors who can't, you know, play the parts. Like, just go ahead and do it, man. Just go ahead and do it. I'm trying to think of something recently that happened. People were saying that, oh, it happened. It kind of happened with Oscar Isaacs in the Snake and being Snake. Like, people were saying that they would love to see him Snake, and they went ahead and actually hired him to be Snake. So,
really,
sometimes it's good for the fans. So, We'll see. Some quick stuff we can go over real quick. I Am Groot. Little short stories on Disney Plus. There's a show called Armor Wars which is Don Cheadle returning as James Rhodes. Me personally, will I watch it to support my brother? But not the biggest War Machine fan. Like he's just okay. Like he's never been like, oh, I'm not gonna watch it because he's in it. It's just oh, there's War Machine. Like that's just how I feel about War Machine. We'll see how it is.
I actually like War Machine more than Iron Man. I actually read more War Machine comics than Iron Man when I was growing up. So that's my boy. And Don Cheadle is one of my favorite actors. So let's go.
I like Don Cheadle, but Don Cheadle was way too old to play the role when he took on. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be real with you. Don Cheadle, you don't even look like no roadie, bro. I'm just gonna be totally honest. It's certain things like, and this is no disrespect to Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle is a black legend in Hollywood. I remember seeing Don Cheadle for the first time in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So yes, Don Cheadle is great, but it's just the roadie thing, and nah, bro. It just never really did it for me. Like I said, he's never deterred me from watching any movie. But if you just told me one day we were gonna Thanos snap him out the universe, it would not matter to me.
That's messed up.
I'm just being totally honest with you. Love Don Cheadle, but I was never, even when I watched like the cartoons growing up I watched the Iron Man cartoons that came on TV. Like even then, I was just like, War Machine is just Iron Man with more guns. Congrats. So, and it hates that he had to be black and they had to make him like basically, Iron Man's like not butler, but Iron Man's like he had to do everything and keep up the public eye for Iron Man and stuff like that. Like I was over the War Machine character back in the 90s. So, good luck to you, Don Cheadle. Good luck to James Rhodes. I'll watch it, like I said, just to support. So hopefully they come up with a good storyline. If the storyline is good, who knows? It may be able to save it. So we'll see. And big news for me, because I remember I actually read a couple of the comments that came out about this character. They're bringing on Ironheart, which is the character I think me and you talked about, Jay, a while back.
Yeah.
He ends up taking over for Iron Man. Riri Williams, who is a genius level person in the Marvel Universe. I think she's certified a genius at like 5 years old in the Marvel Universe. I think she's one of the only people that can make those suits of armor like Tony can and wield that power like he does. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they end up taking this from the show and utilizing her in movies going forward. But I'm very interested because I thought it was a cool idea when they first brought it up. I know I heard people recently, and a lot of fanboys and idiots saying that they wanted his daughter, Tony's daughter from the movies, to end up taking over the mantle. But the thing is, she never takes over the mantle in the comic books. We don't even hear anything about her taking over the mantle, doing anything with Iron Man stuff. So I'm excited for it. Black woman, leading Black woman on another show. So I think it could be cool.
Yeah, I agree. Riri Williams came into the picture kind of recently too. So I know of her, but I never really followed any of her storylines. So, yeah, I'm interested. In this is live action, huh? Is this live action?
This is live action. Yep, they live action. Yep.
So yeah, to be honest, I will say this. I think Disney is being really ambitious here because you're gonna have two Iron Man type shows. I think they could have kind of combined them both. I think that would have been great if maybe Rhodey was some kind of mentor to Riri or something like that. But you having two Iron Man shows. We're gonna see how that works. We'll see.
It's possible. Maybe they'll cross over. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely possible. But yeah, that's all of the big Marvel news that came out of the event.